Okay, we'll call tonight's meeting to order. And first thing I need to announce is that unfortunately, Commissioner Breen is not able to attend in person tonight. Commissioner Breen is requesting to attend remotely under new Brown Act meeting provisions, AB 2449, which allow for remote attendance due to emergency circumstances. Emergency circumstances is defined as a physical or family medical emergency that prevents a council member or a commission member from attending the meeting in person. Commissioner Breen, can you say something? Anna, are you there yet? Okay. Okay. So I'll hold on this script that the town attorney's given to me. So we'll move on to the first item of the meeting, which is oral communication. Okay. Roll call vote.
Commissioner Chung?
Here.
Commissioner Dixon?
Here.
Commissioner, Vice Chair Flynn? Chair War?
Here.
Thank you.
First item on tonight's agenda is oral communications. This is where people, members of the public can address the ASCC on items that are not on tonight's agenda. Anyone here in the meeting, for that purpose? Anyone online?
We have one hand online.
Okay, go ahead.
Is that me? Dana? Okay, so I'm
it's
there.
Dana. Okay, Dana, let me.
Sorry,
promote
there
you to
was no
panelist.
mute and unmute and that when you asked me the first question.
Okay,
And
just
so
one
let me
sec.
just respond to Carter and tell the community that I've had an ankle replacement surgery, which keeps me in bed with my leg elevated for 3 months. So I'm here.
Thank you, Dana. So I'll complete, the rest of the script the town attorney has given to them. Staff and the town attorney have advised that that it is permissible, so long as the commission takes a vote.
Yes.
And vote and agrees that these circumstances qualify. In addition, AB 2449 requires that a quorum of the commission attend in person and that Commissioner Breen attend via video and audio technology. May I entertain a motion to allow Commissioner Breen to attend remotely, due to her personal emergency?
Asking for a motion?
I'm asking for a motion.
I move to allow Dana to attend.
Okay.
I second.
We'll need a roll call vote.
Commissioner Chung?
Yes.
Commissioner Dixon?
Yes.
Vice Chair Flynn? Yes. Chair War?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay. Motion carries.
Commissioner Breen is required by the Brown Act, as required by the Brown Act. Could you please let us know, if anyone 18 years of age or older in the room with you? Or
No
if
one.
Okay. Okay, we can proceed. Now that all votes tonight need to be roll call. Also note that AB 2449 allows Commissioner Breen to attend up to a maximum of 3 consecutive months remotely. But we need to take a vote at each meeting she attends remotely, according to AB 2449. Thank you. I'll move on to the public comment. Is there anyone that wants to talk to the ASCC about something not on tonight's agenda?
No hands online.
Okay, we'll move on to the first item of business. Let's say that was a consent calendar item. Adrian, you want to explain what's going on with that?
Yeah, that's correct. So this particular item doesn't qualify for ASCC review. However, because it is located adjacent to a town trail, we thought it prudent just to notify the ASCC, just in case there's chatter in the public and ASCC members are approached. They'll have a little background on the project. So it is on the consent agenda, which means there's no need to discuss it. Unless somebody feels like they want to, they can make a motion to do that. We do have the project planner here, Jake Garcia, if who's joining us online, if anybody has any detailed questions about it.
Okay. Does anyone on the commission, have any detailed questions about this consent item, or would you like to just move it ahead?
I'm,
I would like to know about if there's a lighting plan associated with it. And I would like to talk a little bit about all the walkways. So, and I had heard about it because residents were concerned about that huge, it's beautiful, but it's huge eucalyptus, which is on the trail.
Okay, so we'll need a motion to pull it off consent for discussion.
I make a motion to pull it off consent for discussion.
Do we need a vote for that?
Yeah.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's 5-0. So it comes off. So Jake, could you do a short presentation about this project, please?
Hi, yes, thank you. My name is Jake Garcia. I'm consultant planner for the town of Portola Valley. And the item that you pulled off the consent agenda is for 27 Hillbrook. The applicant is available as one of the attendees. Adrian, if you want to point Stephen Kikuchi up to the panelist, I believe that they'll be able to speak more directly to any specific questions that pop up. But I'm going to go ahead and give you a background to the project itself. So the planning department goes through a virtual counter process and has it meets with applicants prior to the submittal of their formal applications, and we help the applicant make a determination on whether their application will go to the ASCC for review or directly for building permit. And there are specific requirements within the municipal code that allow for it, or I guess trigger the ASCC's review. This project did not trigger any one of those potential items for review. And some examples of what we most commonly see are increases to floor area or the amount of site development associated with the project. Again, this project has not triggered any one of the common ones that we see. However, it is located next to a trail, and there is a provision that allows for the planning building director to make the discretionary decision of whether or not the ASCC would review a project. And so this one was a little bit on the borderline just because of its positioning next to Hillbrook Trail, which runs along the rear side of these properties that are located along Hillbrook Drive. So the project itself is a proposal to demolish an existing stable at the rear of the property and proposes some new landscape improvements, including site paths throughout the rear of the property, a veggie garden at the rear of the property, a small shed at the rear of the property, and an outdoor patio area, which is towards the rear, but not as rear as some of those other improvements. And I'm going to go ahead and share my screen just so you can see, and that the public can see what the proposal is. And then I would like to invite the applicant to introduce themselves, and then the ASCC can field any questions that they have regarding the project. Great. Here is the site plan. This is pulled from the packet. No lighting has been proposed at this time, but the applicant may speak to that more clearly if there is proposed lighting forthcoming. And again, or I guess I should also mention that there are new plantings associated with landscape screening for the on-site improvements. And to that, I pass over to the applicant to introduce themselves.
Go ahead.
Hi, Steve. Can you hear us?
Hello. Yes, this is Steve Kikuchi, landscape architect. and I'm available to answer any questions or about the project.
Steve, so the pavilion is all open? Is that what we're reading in the
Yes,
drawing?
yeah, it's a, yeah, it's just a wooden lath structure.
Okay.
And is there an actual planting plan? Do we know what new trees and shrub plantings are going to be put in there for privacy?
No, we do not at this point. We've kind of given a general indication that will be native, native or drought tolerant plantings. But, you know, we were at a very conceptual stage, and I decided it was best to review this with planning staff. And we had not gotten to the point of developing detailed plans yet.
And is there a plan for the hillside? What's going to
Not knowing what-
stabilize the ground cover or something like that?
Well, we are showing in green all of the new areas that we anticipate we will do plantings, new plantings. They, as part of the project, they do want to remove an existing septic system. And so we are showing some erosion control measures up by the house. But a lot of the other plantings are for mostly for screening to give and provide some privacy.
So I have a question for staff. And is it not, I mean, if there's no lighting plan or no planting plan, doesn't that trigger something from the town? I mean, you wouldn't just approve something like that without finding out what the lighting situation is and what the planting plan is. Is that not correct?
That is correct. Once they submit formally for a building permit application, we would review any planting or lighting aspects associated with the project for compliance with the municipal code.
But it's not, we don't see it, it's not here now. So it is appropriate then to be asking, is there lighting associated with this project? I mean, that's my big concern is, are there path lights? Are there lights in the trellis? You know, there are stairs down in the area where the trellis is. Are there stair lights? You know, what happens with all these trails that go down? Are they all lit? Are they lights on timers? You know, what's the story with this? It's going to transform the back of this property. So we need to know,
Well,
especially for people who use the trail, what's going to be happening here.
Yeah, through, you know.
Yes, we will
Go ahead.
minimize the lighting. We will have no uplighting
You're not
required
allowed to
by
uplight.
the lighting ordinance. Right, and I just said we will not be doing any uplighting. Our clients intend to use the patio at evening time, so there will be some minimal lighting from the arbor that shines down, and so they can maneuver, and probably lights that go from the path to the house so they can make it down to this outdoor area. They will be removing the existing barn, which has lighting on it now, has high or line voltage lighting on it. So I'd like to think that we're probably doing a trade-off with new lighting versus existing lighting.
I don't ever remember seeing barn lighting on there anyway, but there are all these pathways. Do you plan to light the pathways? You know, how does that happen? Are these going to be on?
No, I just
Oh.
said, yeah, I just said we will have path lights from the house down to the patio.
But there are a
Just
lot
so
of
they can
pathways.
make that.
Maybe it could be.
There will be lights. There will be lights from the patio, the new patio, up to the house on that main pathway. But
Well,
none of the other pathways.
Stephen, I have a question. In the area of your pavilion.
Yes.
It looks like there's, 12 feet of
Mhm.
elevation difference. Because there's 6 contours, impacted by the location. of the kitchen pavilion, dining area, and the fire pit. And it would seem to me that there will be a grading volume, and a retaining wall required that will put this into at least a site development permit, review. And if the volume, exceeds 100 cubic yards, then Jake, it's going to need to come to the ASCC. There's another, threshold, for the site development permit is when existing landscape area is impacted by more than 5,000 square feet. And it would look to me like, that you're, close to that, if not over that, on this 1 acre parcel. So it seems to me that that there are enough issues, that this project, should likely, need to come back for a more, substantive review. Because I do expect that the majority of what, Steve, you've got shown in the tan color on your drawing is you're going to want to be mostly flat. And because of that, I think that there's a pretty substantial cut and fill, in order to accomplish that. The other thing that I would
Yeah.
potentially suggest in your path system to reduce the impact, is to include, instead of having the path below the fire pit area, is potentially use the patio of, of the pavilion and the fire pit, as your access across that, to reduce the amount of, impervious surface. But I think there's enough issues here, Stephen and Jake, that we appreciate the opportunity to look at this, and would advise it, probably needs to come back, as an ASCC item, because there's going to be enough, thresholds hit with landscape area and grading volume that I don't think it can go, straight to building permit.
Can I clarify those questions? Yeah, when we had an initial meeting with Jake, and he clarified the issues that would push it into ASCC review. And so we did some very rough grading calculations. We're grading about 88 cubic yards. The overall grade differential from the uppermost part of the patio, there's a 3-foot retaining wall, is about 5 feet. And so the retaining wall is cutting 3 feet into the slope, and then there's another 2 feet of steps down beyond the fire pit. And the patio slopes at about a 2% slope, which also makes up some of that grade. So we are only grading about, 88 cubic yards. As far as landscaping, we are well under the 5,000 limits. We're probably more like, 3,000 square feet. Once again, when you look at the trees and shrubs, those are just the canopies of those plants. Those aren't the entire extent of landscaping that we're doing. So we really did try to make sure that we were staying well outside of the ASCC review requirements.
Okay. Any other issues or concerns by, members of the ASCC?
Could we, Dana, could you talk about that eucalyptus issue? Dana?
Can't you hear me?
No.
Yes.
Well, now, yes.
Right, sorry, I didn't, all right. There apparently there's a junction of trail right there, and there's a huge eucalyptus. Are you guys taking out a eucalyptus? I don't know why this person called me concerned. It doesn't look to me on the drawing that you're removing any eucalyptus. Is that correct?
You know, I haven't been to the site recently, but it was my understanding that that tree has been removed.
Oh,
already.
okay.
Yeah, this is Dan Schaefer. I'm on the call if you can hear me. There was a extremely large eucalyptus there, and we removed it, I believe, about a year ago. There were also a few smaller eucalyptuses that were along the path line, but on our property, and we have already removed those as well.
Great. So that's all I know, and I was just repeating what a concerned resident asked me.
I guess
But-
my only other question was about the vegetable plot being located and the shed being located at the absolute bottom of the property. So I'm just wondering if that your gardener's going to take care of it, or if this is a passion project. It's just, or if it's just the location of the sun or something. It's really far from the home. So if this is your passion project and you're going to go hike up and down 30 feet, good for you, but it's something to evaluate whether that's the best location for that.
This is Dan again. It's absolutely a passion project of my wife. We've got a smaller garden up near the house right now that we're doing herbs in, and she wants to be able to do more than just the herbs and have it be enclosed so that the deer and the squirrels, which are going to take almost everything, is there. So she's very much excited about it. And yes, very much a passion project.
Okay.
Well, I would like to suggest that this is going to go on and be approved by staff, that I would like to say about the trails, that I would love to see the trail use reduced. If there are going to be lights along the trails, I think they need to be on timers, or they need to even be on a switch. I mean, the only reason to have them on is from the house to the circle that is green down to that area that you've made. The rest of the lights can really go off. And what I don't want to see is like an airport, a runway back there with lights all over the place. So, and I think that's really critical. And obviously you don't want that look either. I mean, this is a pretty design, but I'm worried about the path lighting and any other lighting. You not only can't uplight a tree, you can't downlight a tree. So, all of that, and the stairs, are the stairs going to have lights on them? I'm just curious still where you're going with this, because that's a very dark area up there, which is lovely.
Yes, and the clients communicated to me from the very start that they love the rural atmosphere of their house as it currently exists. And so we really are trying to minimize development and minimize any impacts on the existing conditions, and also any impact on any neighbors. So there will be lights, probably at critical areas like the steps. They're not stairs, they're steps. And they will be limited to from the patio to the house, so they can get down there safely and then back up. And these will be low path lights that shine downward on the path, not radiating lights, not bollards or radiating lights that can be seen from the trail system. And we will submit a lighting plan to the building department too.
Thank you.
And I guess at that time, the planning department can review that as well for conformity.
Jana?
I'm good.
Thanks, Dana. Jana?
Thank you.
No question.
Okay. Okay. So, I think the outcome of this, Jake, and thank you for bringing it to us, is, to be careful about the thresholds, and be careful about the things that, the ASCC has expressed. And with those caveats, we would move that back, to a staff review level. But, everyone concur with that?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you. I'll make a note to the file and work with the applicant to continue forward.
Okay. Thanks, Jake. We'll move on to the next item.
Thank you.
Which is
Thanks, Tom.
architectural review for 1,138 square foot addition and remodel of an existing house at 30 Shoshone Place. The applicant?
So we'll start with Project planner, Paul, he's joining us this evening.
Great.
He's one of our contract planners. This is his first presentation to the ASCC, so welcome, Paul. And actually, he's got both projects this evening, so he's busy.
Great.
But Paul, when you're ready, you can bring your presentation up and get started.
Thanks, Paul.
Thank you for the introduction. Good evening, commissioners. Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, there we go. Almost as loud as Dana.
Mm.
Good evening. My name is Paul Kylie-Hinsey. I'm a contract planner with the town. And the item before you tonight is for an architectural review and for an addition and remodel of the main residence at 30 Shoshone Place. So to start off, here is, shown here is a vicinity map of the project site. The project site is outlined in red, and the site has frontage along the cul-de-sac of Shoshone Place and is surrounded by Shawnee Pass as well as Cervantes Road. Shown here is the site plan of the project. The project includes an addition of 1,138 square feet to the main residence, resulting in a total square footage of 4,598 square feet. The project complies with all development standards, including setbacks, height, permitted floor area, impervious surface, etc. Shown on this slide in pink is the remodeled floor area. And in purple is the additional floor area. So the project proposes to add 1,165 square feet and remove 27 square feet for a net addition of 1,138 square feet. Shown here are the existing and proposed floor plans. And as you can see, the bulk of the addition is along the left-hand side of the home. Here are the existing and proposed front elevations. The addition of the project room at the front of the home is along the right-hand side and visible on the proposed elevation on the bottom. And here are the right elevations where you can view the proposed addition on the opposite side is extending into the rear yard. Shown here are the left elevations where the added area is shown on the bottom opposite. Here are the rear elevations where the addition to the rear yard is shown on the right-hand side. The project does propose new exterior finishes for all materials, and all proposed materials and treatments meet the town reflectivity guidelines and present a natural color palette. You can see here the existing and proposed landscaping conditions. Overall, there is a reduction in impervious surface area. There are no new landscape plantings, and no site development permit is triggered. There are a total of 7 exterior light fixtures proposed. And apologies. And the lighting is dark sky compliant and consistent with the town's outdoor lighting ordinance. The project was noticed on August 2nd. And 1 public comment was received, which is included as attachment 9 in the staff report. So to conclude, staff recommends that the ASCC review and approve the requested architectural review for an addition and remodel of the main residence, subject to the conditions of approval. And I'm happy to take any questions And I believe the applicant team is also available for questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Come on, guys. Paul, you want to trade seats?
Was the neighbor comment, was it included in the packet somewhere?
Yeah.
This one is-
I was gonna ask where that is.
know what page it was?
Page 100.
There's a lot of pages.
There's a lot of pages. Just swiping down.
Oh,
Go
here.
ahead.
Good evening. I'm Gustav Carlson, the architect on the project. I'm here to answer any questions. I also would like to introduce Chad Rosen and Kimberly Morris Rosen. They can probably give a brief overview of the why of the project, and then I can speak more specifically to any architectural questions.
Hi.
Hi, I'm Kimberly Morris Rosen. Thank you for having us here tonight and thank you for coming to our home earlier this afternoon. We just wanted to tell you a little bit about our family and why we're wanting to do this remodel in Portola Valley. We actually had our first daughter attending Windmill and fell in love with Portola Valley because of that and just waited for the right house to come along. And this one did, and we've lived in Portola Valley since 2018 and just really love the community. We have 4 kids in the local schools. I'm on the school board for the Portola Valley School District. So we've really just dived in and integrated ourselves in the community. We have 4 kids, so we're hoping to add some space to our home and just make it really the home that we can, raise our family in and send them off to college from. And it was really important to keep the feeling of the home to us. We wanted to kind of do as little as possible. We love our neighborhood, and we just love kind of the understated feeling of Portola Valley. So that's why we're presenting the project to you, and we just really appreciate the opportunity. Let us know if you have any questions.
Thank you so much. Gustav, anything else?
No, I think it's a wonderful architectural project, and I think that Kimberly and Chad have been super clients, and it's been a really simple project to accomplish for their family. If there's any other further questions, Paul did a great job outlining the one-story proposal. So if there's any further, though, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you. Any questions of the applicant, or of staff? Let's move on to public comment. Is there anyone here, like to speak on this issue or online?
Hands.
Okay, great. So we'll bring this back, we'll close the public hearing and bring this back, to discussion amongst the ASCC. Would you start, Rebecca?
In general, I think the project is well thought out. I was impressed with the creativity of the rejiggering of the inside. I thought that went really well. Moving the kitchen so that it had a better relationship to the family room and the dining room. So I think that was really well thought out. In general, we toured the site today and seemed pretty well thought out and reasonable. The neighbor seemed happy with it, who'd be most affected. So in general, I don't think I have any particular questions or comments. Again, I did make the comment while I was there to, again, I recommend that you install more electric appliances. That's where we're going. That's where we need to go for climate change. Eventually gas is going to get very expensive because fewer and fewer people are going to use it. So if that is at all in your budget to think about, I would again recommend that you go all electric if possible. Otherwise, I think that's it. I find that the design is well done.
Thank you. Dana?
Yeah, I don't have any specific comments other than I think it feels very appropriate. It was nice to go out to the site and just feel the scale of it. It's great. You know, as Rebecca said, your neighbor who would be the most affected by it is very supportive and sweet. So I don't really have any comments. I think it's a very nice project.
Thank you. Kenny?
I agree with my fellow commissioners. I'm sorry I didn't make it out to the site today. But from what I can see here and from fellow commissioners, it looks like a very appropriate project. I appreciate very much that you've improved upon the existing structure instead of doing a tear down. And it looks like you did a nice job, and it's sort of like intrinsically works with our design guidelines. So I don't see anything in there to object to, and I'm inclined to approve.
Great, thank you. I support the project. I think it's a good design for this site. You know, the upsloping backyard, you know, is a challenge. You know, the adaptive reuse, you know, of the house, you know, I think is truly appropriate, you know, for your kind of family on this site in particular. And I support the condition, you know, recommended conditions of approval, you know, without adjustment. And would look forward to a motion, you know, as such.
What about me?
Oh, I'm sorry, Dana. You weren't here.
I'm really excited for the applicant because this is achieving what you want. And I think it's just an all-round good job. So I'm excited for you.
So you want to make a motion to approve, Dana?
I will make a motion to approve as submitted.
Thank you very much. Is there a second?
Also, okay.
Okay, Kenny seconds. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All
Aye.
opposed, say nay. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you very much.
Thank you all very much.
We'll move on to the next item, which is fine. Too many pages. Next item, you know, is new residents at 242 Corte Madera, you know, Road.
So I will be recusing myself from this because I am the architect and the homeowner. So I will step outside.
You think that disqualifies you?
I have a slight conflict of interest here. It's very
You
small.
think you have some level of bias?
I'm only minutely biased.
Thank you so much. Okay, we'll go, you know, for a staff report, Paul.
Thank you again. This next item before you tonight is for an architectural review for a new residence, site development permit, and landscape improvements at 242 Corte Madera Road. The property is along Corte Madera Road and is perpendicular to Sema Way and is nearby Crescent Avenue and Alpine Road. Shown here is the proposed site plan. The project includes a new residence of 2,899 square feet and complies with all development standards, including setbacks, height, daylight plan requirements, permitted floor area, etc. Shown here is the front elevation, and not immediately visible, but on the left and right-hand side are light wells, the daylit basement. Here are the right elevations where you get a view of the light well on the right-hand side. Shown here are the left elevations with the light well on the left-hand side. And an elevation of the rear, where you can see the patio areas in the rear yard. The proposed colors and materials meet town reflectivity guidelines and present a natural color palette. Shown here are the proposed landscaping conditions. The project includes a new driveway, site paths, a lawn area in the rear, kitchen garden in the rear, patio areas, and decorative boulders. The plantings associated with the project are proposed in natural groupings throughout the site and are predominantly native plants. The project does comply with the maximum allowed water use. There is a site development permit associated with this project. There is 40 cubic yards of landscape cut and 60 cubic yards of landscape fill, a total of 100 cubic yards of cut and fill. That triggers an ASCC review for site development. Shown here is the exterior lighting plan. There are a total of 104 exterior light fixtures proposed. The lighting is dark sky compliant and is consistent with the town's outdoor lighting ordinance. This project was noticed on August 2nd, and to date, no public comments have been received. Staff recommends that the ACC review and approve the requested architectural review and site development permit for new residence and site improvements at 242 Corte Madera, subject to conditions of approval. I'm happy to answer any questions, and the applicant team is also here to answer questions. Thank you.
Any staff questions? I have a question. Paul, could you bring up the lighting plan?
Thank you.
Again?
Said lighting plan?
Yeah. Purple lights that are down on those retaining walls.
Yes.
Are there walkways, across there?
Yes. Those are wall lights. Just lighting the walkway there.
Below the wall, or are they facing into the kitchen garden?
So they are,
They're facing towards Winderwood. Okay.
Are the ones at the lower ones necessary?
which are you referring to?
The ones to the right on my, yeah,
Right.
the opposite, the ones towards the bottom of the property. There's 4 that seem to face towards a yard or, yeah.
There is a side path there. I think during that review that we felt that it was sort of, the lighting was shown to be required for safety.
Okay.
Would you characterize all of this lighting as being required for safety?
I think that's sort of the determination that's staff made during review. But I think we'll have to defer to a different interpretation, or maybe Jay Garcia can provide some insight as to the staff review of lighting.
If I may, through the chair, I just want to add a little bit of color to this lighting plan. We started off with a more comprehensive lighting plan that included some driveway lighting and strip lighting. We made recommendations for overall just like lighting reduction on site. So you can see the clouded areas on the site plan show areas where the lighting has been reduced or removed. There are still a number of lights on site, and these lights comply with the municipal code, and they are located along pathways to be utilized by the homeowners. However, if you decide that there is a need for reduction, you may make the recommendation to remove or reduce lighting as you see appropriate. It's kind of up to your interpretation and final discretion. But these lights do comply with the municipal code. And then it's your discretion to how they meet the design guidelines.
Do we have a sense of the distance between each of those blue lights? And purple lights for that matter?
That's a good question. The applicant team may also be able to speak more directly to the need and the necessity for the lights, as well as more technical questions such as the distance.
Okay, thanks. Any other staff questions? Okay. Come on up, guys.
Nice to see everyone.
Hey, Peter.
I'm Peter Dixon. I just want to start off by saying I appreciate everybody for your time and effort on this commission. I'm aware of the effort that takes from all of you. My wife Gina and I are very proud to be residents here of Portola Valley. We've lived here for 6 years now. As you may be aware, we have 3 girls and are expecting a boy, and so are looking to expand our home. And we're very proud to have my wife be an architect as well, and to be able to put her skill to use in building our own home here. And we just love being here and love being part of this community, as obviously do you all. So thank you, and thank you for your time tonight. Looking forward to answering your question.
Thank you, Peter.
I'll go ahead and introduce the design folks who are here tonight. So I'm Daniel Culver and Fergus Garber. I'm glad to be back here. Also Grace Marici is here, Fergus Garber, and then Christian Mackey and Christian Douglas are the landscape architects. We don't have further presentation, but happy to answer your questions.
Okay, great. Any questions, of the applicant team from the commission, including you, Dana? I didn't forget you. Go ahead, Ken.
I'm okay with Dana going first. It sounds like
Okay,
she knows.
Dana, you go.
What are the 3 trees on the east, on the south property line along that pathway? I don't know that they're trees. They're 3 circles. See the 3 circles?
Yeah.
What
Those
are
are-
those?
Those are fruit trees.
Oh, okay. Good. Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, it's kind of goofy. Yeah, go ahead, Kenny. You had questions?
I was curious for the landscape architects, the landscape lighting, and did you assess whether or not it complied with the design guidelines, the Portola Valley design guidelines in terms of the amount of lumens per linear foot along the pathways?
Yeah, I can jump in. I can jump in and answer that. Yes, they are 10 feet and over apart from one another. So we're compliant.
Thank you.
Rebecca, any questions for the applicant?
On the landscape plan, on the northwest side, there's 5 trees all in a row. I realize you're limited sort of what you can put there, but are those purely for privacy reasons or up here, these 5 green ones? Is there any way to make that a little less hedgy? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, it's not so much monofloc as, well, that's also an issue, but just having straight lines inland around Portola Valley, we try to discourage that.
Do you want
If the applicant
up
is
to the
speaking
podium?
through the microphone.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
you can jump on the podium if you want. Yeah. Press the, yep.
Yep.
Yes, so those just screen the neighbors. The driveways from the neighboring property is about 3 feet away from this property line, and they park their car there all the time. So just to provide a little bit more privacy.
And you said in here that you did talk to the neighbors, but did they give you any personal feedback directly on the project?
I was actually going to bring up that there was public comment submitted from one of the neighbors. It's Monica Barbara and Anka Jane. It doesn't appear to have been delivered, but Gina had given me a forward that has been received by the town.
Oh,
It was in support.
oh, you got it? It was in the packet or was it
In the
email?
packet.
It's not in the packet.
Go ahead, Peter. You have something to say, I can tell.
Thank you, sir. I was just gonna say, we have, we did do a pretty thorough job of talking to the neighbors and widespread support for this project.
So well, I guess it's sort of a question, but it's also a future discussion, but I did have some I did speak a bit with Daniel and with Gina about the project and, how to phrase this. For those of us who, so I had the opportunity to actually view the project today and, it actually sits below the road, quite about.
Is this discussion or?
It's kind of both.
Okay,
It's more discussion than question.
okay, let's pull it for.
Okay.
For discussion, please. Okay. No other, questions of the applicant? Okay. Let's move on to public comment. Is there any public comment on this issue, either in the room or online?
No hands.
Okay. Then let's pull it back and we'll close, the public hearing. And Rebecca will talk, we can move on to the discussion.
And my understanding is that the applicants really would like to have this move forward, get approved as soon as possible. It's been in the process for a very long time. But upon looking at the site, I personally feel, and kind of in discussion with the clients, is that they would much prefer to have the house up to 2.5 feet higher. They've done an incredible job of creating a 1-story building in a very tight site. And the way they've done that is by having a basement for the bedroom wing for the children. And in my mind, that's going to involve quite a bit of dirt haul off from the site. And that's why we talked about the idea of actually lifting the whole project up by around up to 2.5 feet or so. So that would reduce that amount of dirt haul off onto the streets. It would reduce the cut, obviously, on the property, and there would be opportunity to create perhaps more fill, but to create a better siting with respect to the road. And whatnot, it would also allow for a lot better lighting into the lower floor, while still achieving the 1-story look, which tends to be very important in Portola Valley, and it doesn't appear that it would impinge on the neighbors particularly more than the site itself. So I'm not sure exactly what the process for that would be if we move forward to approve the plans as designed, if the applicant would have the opportunity to, if they chose to submit, some updates to the plans, if we could give some kind of indication of whether or not that would be the right direction that we might approve and if it was worthwhile for them to go to the expense of redoing some of these plans or not. I sort of leave that up to the rest of the commissioners to comment on.
Okay.
Otherwise, my main, I like the design. I think it's really nice. It fits in well with the neighborhood. Again, my only thing is, again, to encourage all applicants to go all electric, particularly as you have a lot of bedrooms down in the basement. The last thing you want is any kind of gas appliances down there. But I would hope that you would examine that a little bit more.
Anything else? Okay, Kenny?
I'm inclined to approve. I think there's been a great effort to make this fit within the design guidelines, as Rebecca mentioned, and I think the stories below grade, the lighting does look like a lot. I appreciate attention paid to it actually conforming to the quantitative design guidelines. I know this is it's sort of like a unique and challenging community to design in for a lot of reasons. But in there, so I'm inclined to approve as is. The sort of 2 feet, the 2 feet of raising the whole project up 2 feet. I'm not sure that's something that we could pre-approve without neighbor input. But that's, seems like it's enough that.
If we were to do something.
Yeah, I think I'll jump in too. So having talked this over after we were on site today, there are a few other concerns we would have. And so by no means, I think is it imperative for the owners to raise this up. You know, one of the concerns is the grade between this house and the adjacent properties. And you know, the garden, the native garden to the south and the retaining wall, their yard is a bit further down from adjacent property. And so that's going to have to be, that retaining wall will be enlarged. It would be disruptive to the neighbor's gardens. It would be a fair amount of work. I also, you know, having seen the cut and fill numbers, it's a net importer of dirt. So I think that lifting the house by 2 feet is not going to reduce the amount of the dirt is staying on site, the clean portions of it. So I think that's less of a concern we had before. And I think we're a little apprehensive about raising the roof line again for that house to the south, because the gables on that property are looking out north. And even if it's not impinging on any direct lighting, it's going to be in their line of sight. And so we think it's pretty severe in the big areas, but we appreciate the concern.
Thank you. Dana?
I think this is stunning project. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. And I think it fits in beautifully to Corte Madera. I would not support any elevation change to that house. I mean, people live in the streets, people walk the streets. You know, the access and visibility of Windy Hill for everybody is critical. Now, that being said, I love it, but I really feel, because I love it so much, that there's too much lighting. I mean, the property, the house is small, the property is small. And so you look on that south elevation and there are lots of windows. So there's light spill from the house. And then there's the pathway with blue dot, blue dot, blue dot. It just feels almost a little chaotic in there, you know, and I know it's just the graphics. So I'd like to see less blue dots and less purple dots on the plan. And I know what you're trying to achieve, but I would be very careful because your design is beautiful. So just don't let it be kind of crazy lights. And other than that, I think it's stunning, and I'm really excited to see this move forward.
Good. Thank you, Dana.
Well,
I think it's a nice, really nice project. I think the respect that the design has, you know, for, you know, the streetscape, the roadscape, you know, is really cool. This was a property that I was afraid was going to become a big 2-story house, you know, that was going to, you know, block out, you know, some of the you know, western, you know, the ridge line and the Windy Hill view from the street. And I'm really pleased, you know, with the design. While I understand all of what's gone into this design, you know, I think that for the livability of some of those basement rooms, you know, raising the building, you know, a couple feet, you know, could help. I think there might be a misinterpretation, you know, of the height limit, you know, that may have forced it artificially low, but, you know, because the basements wouldn't count, you know, as floor area, you know, if the ceilings were 18 inches or less, above the adjacent grade, which I don't think would be, hard to accomplish. Making the light wells, a little less deep, could help. At the same time, I support, Dana's assertion, in the way the design comes together right now, as a really low-lying, house. I think the materials are exquisite. I, really enjoy the landscape design. There's some of the paths, that, if the path could be, instead of a hard path, a soft path, inside, what's described as the vegetable garden. You might not need those lights. Because the lighting really, for me, Peter and Gina, it is really the only issue that I have. Is that it feels a little bit, a little bit like a battleship, or a cruise liner. When you look at it, back from kind of the hillside below, and I'm concerned about the 15 LM light, because it isn't a complete downlight. There's an outward spill, from that 15 M light. So if you chose one that didn't have the lens, that it is illuminated, where the actual light is actually tucked up inside, I'd have less concern. And I do think that some of those, particularly the path in the middle, I don't have a pointer, I didn't log on, but the one across that's called the vegetable cutting garden, or herb garden, at that point, that potentially wouldn't need that amount of lighting, because I don't think you're actually going to use it except to get from one side to the other. So I can support the project as proposed, with the recommendation, for less lighting, because I do think that if everything turned on, you wouldn't see the sky very much anymore. And part of the beauty, of I think this lot and the backside and the backyard is really, the piece de resistance, of this property, is to see the stars. So, but I think the project is, really well thought out architecturally, for sure. The landscape, I think we've got too many lights. But, I think by the time you start budgeting how much each one of those are, there's probably some value engineering opportunities.
I mean, I agree that you can use really nice, like really a lot of attention to the lighting to make a bad design sparkle. This doesn't need it.
No, I think it's really already a great design, that doesn't need it. At the same time, if it's meeting, the lighting guidelines, I just, hope for less. And I think that, you guys will take a look at that and see what you can do.
If your kids are anything like mine, every one of those lights is going to become a toy.
I guess the only change that I'd recommend, is a different fixture for, for what's listed, at the 15 M.
I agree with that, Carter.
Shoot, I apologize, Dana. I was responding that there is not a lens on that fixture. I think the photograph may sort of misrepresent what you're seeing. Think of it
Okay.
as a shell. The
Yeah.
light is tucked up at the top, and that white area is just the light on a vertical face.
I think my computer died. So I was just gonna,
Because, I mean, it says there are 52 fixtures. That can't be correct. The purple one? We're talking about the purple one, right?
There
1,
might-
2, 3, 4,
there
5,
might
6,
have
7, 8,
been.
9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I only see 15 dots, so I'm not sure where that.
That's likely an error. Apologies about that.
Carter, to your point,
Oh.
that's not a lens, so it's not radiating out horizontally.
Okay. Um,
Yeah, those came, we had a couple of those that came to our house and my boys won't leave this bulb. It's frustrating. I mean, we don't, we don't need them.
I was just looking for the cut sheets.
The quantity on the wall light is 15 fixtures, 52 lumens. Apologies about that.
52 lumens. I've got this.
Here.
Still looks like. Oh, am I getting old? Oh, there it
Finish
is.
that one in
It doesn't,
black.
it doesn't have a lens.
It's a full cutoff fixture, meaning the light doesn't exceed the
Okay.
horizontal plane whatsoever, just per the local codes. I'll also state that the, all these lights will be zoned and controlled by zone, so they will, be able to toggle on and off. And I don't imagine that all of these lights will be on at all times for any length of time.
I hope that.
Yeah.
It'll look like a Christmas tree.
Okay. So I'd entertain a motion. Dana, I'll give you a chance to be first.
All right. You want?
I
Can't hear you.
Dana. Kenny?
I move to approve with a recommendation to reduce the lighting.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. 4-0. Is there any other business? Wishes?
Mission reports.
Got any reports? You got anything to report? Mrs. News Commissioner,
I don't have reports.
Mr. Commissioner? Dana, you got anything to report? Hopefully you didn't fall off the couch.
Anna, can you hear? Are you still there?
Bloody hell.
You did fall off the bed?
No, I didn't. So you can hear me.
No. Well, now we can. Now you're talking loud.
Yeah, I was screaming.
Oh, no.
Kidding.
Okay.
No reports.
Here, Adrian, do you have anything you want to add to to our meeting tonight?
Just one item, the project that was heard by the ASCC in July, the one that's going to be appealed, 857 Westridge. The appeal has been scheduled to be heard by the Planning Commission on September 4th. So if any ASCC members wanted to attend that hearing, it'd be great to have you there. Yeah, September 4th. And hopefully we'll have an official representative, Chair War, if you're able to come. If not, we can.
Yeah, I'm intending to come.
Okay.
The thing that I want the applicant and the appellant, to recognize was how the conditions of approval were crafted on that, project. Because there were significant mitigations, to the issues between the properties that needed to be resolved as a consequence of those conditions. And I'm a bit concerned that the approval is seen as an approval instead of a conditional approval. Because there were a lot of things yet to be resolved. They were allowed to be reviewed by staff, unless there continue to be, problems. So to me, the ASCC review is still open until those conditions, are met by the applicant. So, that effectively is,
Yes.
Did the appellant make a specific request as to the deficiency in the conditional approval?
No, the reasoning proposed or provided in the appeal documents are very generic about the general plan not being met, the zoning code not being met. So we don't actually have any specific detail. The appellant is aware that in order for planning commission to assess and make a sound judgment on the appeal, they need a little bit more information to sort of understand. And so we anticipate getting further submission materials in advance of actually releasing the packet, but we don't have any more detail yet.
Okay. And so the planning commission will effectively be in the position of re-reviewing the project? That plan?
Well, it's up to the appellant to sort of explain the grounds for the appeal. And then that is what planning commission is trying to assess. But yeah, they're going to take a look at the staff report. They'll listen to watch the video, the minutes, understand where ASCC was coming from on their conditional approval. And their job will be to decide if an error was made.
There were also 4 very concerned residents, and I want to make sure that they're notified and that the work that we did do, that they feel represented in the process as well.
So do I guess correctly that either our conditional approval will be effectively upheld by the planning commission, or it will be sent back to us? Or
No, they would either make a decision against the appellant and say we agree with the ASCC's decision on the project and we uphold that, or they will say we disagree and they will make a new determination.
okay.
Does the appellant provide material before the planning commission?
Yeah, so anything that is part of the official record, they'll have to provide in advance of the packet release, and that will be circulated.
Are there minutes available for that? That was the meeting. I think I was out of town. Yeah, that's my next question, was what the status is of minutes.
The next set of minutes I wanted to look at was from part 2 of the ASCC's workshop for the zoning code amendments. And I started trying to review those minutes for accuracy, and it was taking me a really long time, and I wanted to get the packet out Friday morning so that you guys had a chance with it. So I just had to move on. But I'm going to try to have those, they're chunky, that set of minutes. It was a big discussion for the ASCC. So I am going to try to have those minutes next time. But yes, I will also have the minutes for that particular hearing because we need to have them.
Well, in the absence of the minutes, the recording, would stand as the record.
Indeed, yeah. But I'm hoping to have the minutes ready just to have another resource for planning commission.
But will they need to be approved before they can be used?
Actually, a very good question. I wonder if we could use them in draft form. I'll have to consult the town attorney to see if they have to first be approved by ASCC to be part of the record. I'll find out.
That would be my expectation. And I think it would be very important, to finish that, finish those minutes at our next ASCC meeting.
All right.
I think that would be critical. Now, from a priority standpoint, I would put that higher than our workshop minutes.
Right. We'll do that.
How do you do those minutes based on the recording?
So we actually have a third-party service where we send off the recording and they actually put the minutes together, send them back to me. I review them first for accuracy and then include them in the packet.
Okay. Hearing no, new
I have one
business.
other question.
Okay.
Adrian, do you have an update kind of on the building department and the planning? Is there any update on, my understanding is from people in the field that they're having trouble even getting permits filled and there was an issue with the software not being accessible. Have any of those been solved yet?
I don't have any new updates. John Biggs, who was brought back onto the team to work on special projects for the planning department, he has been tasked with putting together a plan for basically restaffing the department. We haven't heard anything yet in terms of any official updates. So I know he's working on it. We're trying to get somebody to fill Carol's role or at least some temporary help. We have a new admin that's helping us at the front desk. He started last week. So he's
But
with us for
you
now.
do now have access to the software or that's still up in the air?
At
Yeah,
least my
I'm-
experience is that, John seems to have, some level of access, but not kind of the way it was intended. And so, we're, right now, we as applicants are breaking down our applications and emailing bits, to John, who is then uploading them to the box or wherever it was, because he's not able to share it as an upload. He's only able to share the contents of what's already been.
But he's processing and they are intaking. I do,
Kind of.
okay, yeah, because my experience has been the plan build email is a black hole. Emailing John is a black hole. Going to the town, everybody says, I don't know what's going on. I don't know. Oh gosh, we're so busy. It's really,
Yeah,
It's
the only-
hard.
The only response I'm getting is talking to Tom's cell number.
uh,
So this is not an agendized item, so I recommend we adjourn.
Is it relevant to the ASCC? Can we, recognizing how swamped the building and planning department is, can we help with those minutes? Is that something that we as a committee can help clear in terms of checking the minutes for accuracy?
No, I don't think so. I just need to give them a glance. I'm not doing any kind of major review. So no, I mean, you do the work when I bring them to you and you actually do the close reading of them and suggest recommended edits and stuff like that. I'm just doing a fairly quick review. But as I say, even a fairly quick review of I think it was March 25 minutes was gonna take forever.
Yeah, it's just, the longer, the longer the time goes by between, the meeting and when we read them, the less we have, the contemporaneous memory to accurately update.
I understand.
So let's do the best we can. So I move we adjourn the meeting.
1 second.
Thank you.
Sorry, I muted. I think she's mine. Yeah.